guys, and welcome back to the Unbothered podcast, our latest episode where we will be breaking down America's fifth sport, MTV's The Challenge, Season 36 Double Agents, Episode 11, aptly titled An Inconvenient Goof. I love this title. I really, really do.
Appropriate.
Absolutely. Don't forget to follow us on our Facebook groups, The Challenge Unbothered, Reality TV Unbothered, and you can catch us on Twitter at MTV's The. That's it. You will see us, the MTV Challenge Unbothered Twitter page. Give us a follow, and we will be posting the link to all of our podcast episodes directly to all of those pages when they get uploaded. So just a quick recap of what happened in last week's episode, episode 10, Amber Alert. It was a hall brawl between the Ambers, what many fans are dubbing one of the saddest eliminations and hall brawls of all time. Amber B gets her skull. Amber M goes home. The Black Widow Corey curse continues. He is a rogue agent once again because B sticks with Darrell. We saw more Lolo versus Nam drama. I think we've all had enough of it at this point, but there's more. And that leads us right into the newest episode, An Inconvenient Goof, where we see them coming back from the crater. Amber B's like, yes, I have my skull, but per usual, like everybody, after they get their skull, she's kind of pissy towards Gabby because she feels blindsided. And she was like, I didn't say your name, but yet you said mine. And she kind of vents to Big T about it. But Big T's happy that Amber has her skull. And I feel like Big T's kind of stuck in the middle between these two right now, and Gabby regrets not going down. Again, like everybody, every episode who decides not to go down regrets going down. And CT pretty much tells her shit happens. We all make rookie mistakes. I think he's just trying to make her feel better because in his head, he was probably like, yeah, you should have went down.
Yeah, for me personally, I think she's been in the game long enough that she's seen the same song play out a little bit by now. So she didn't catch on. That's her own fault.
Absolutely. And CT is lamenting in his confessions that he's pretty much being iced out of eliminations. And he knows at this point, if he doesn't win a daily and put himself in, he's never going to get a chance. And I feel like this is the first time in a long time I've seen CT genuinely stressing out about his place in the game.
Right.
And his progress. And it's kind of interesting to see because he's normally sitting pretty.
It's a new strategy for him too, though, right? The format of kind of maneuvering through that is like, oh, man, like you said last night, and we'll get into it, but he used to rely on fear.
Right. Right.
Yeah. That's what he said. He was like, I've built a reputation of being big and scary, and now people are afraid, so they're not going to give me the opportunity to go in. I mean, he just won 2 seasons ago.
Right.
Yeah, you can't take that.
No, not at all. And he won a few seasons before that, and now he's in better shape than he has been the last couple years. He's not someone to sleep on, and he knows it. And of course, now we see Josh is getting nervous because he knows he's going to be targeted for his skull. And he's got heavy hitters waiting. Corey, Darrell, CT, Nam. 4 huge dudes who are eyeing him and Devin up like a couple of hungry wolves coming to dinner. Like, who's going to take who?
Right.
And he should be nervous. And he also gets really weird towards Nani.
So weird. So awkward.
Let's talk about that stuff. Frankie. Man, what's up with your girl?
I don't know, but he did the same thing with the Mans on War of the Worlds too. Like,
awkward.
It's just weird. Like,
well, you guys saw what Anissa said, right, on her podcast.
Oh yeah, yeah. He was trying to get that blowy.
What did she say?
She said he was drunk and crying.
Yeah, he wanted her to blow him.
Yes, and he asked her for a blowjob.
Yeah.
Wait, he asked Anissa for a blowjob?
Anissa.
Yeah.
She said it on her podcast.
And according to the spoilers, he got this instead.
That's pretty desperate.
So desperate.
Right. Right. So, I mean, it's definitely a funny thing when you think about Josh and you think about kind of what you read about him being kind of cringy around girls and kind of just being awkward when it comes to women. And like Frankie said, with Amanda in World of Worlds 1, I think, right? And then most recently with
It was
Nani.
weird with Georgia in War of the Worlds too. I think she was just
Right,
Oh
right,
yeah.
right.
him about it, but he was still weird,
So it's a pattern.
kind
Like
of.
when we talk about the baby or the goof, we're not just bullying and picking on him. We're just stating facts. He's a weirdo. If you see his behavior and kind of how he's acting towards women, and like we said, he's going to be answered to the trivia question. Who's the one person that Nani said no to? Josh.
Good point.
I also how like Nadine was talking about how a bunch of heavy hitters are gonna come after his school, and he's like those trick-or-treaters, like the little kid trick-or-treaters who collect all the candy, and then the big boys just come and snatch up all his hard work.
Right. And when they first got all that candy, they were like, "Ooh, look at me! I got all this candy." Right, like he was with the skull, his big show that he put on.
Yeah.
And then, you know,
He's so
Someone's gonna
annoying.
come and just snatch that right from him.
right. Like that's pretty funny.
We can just trash Josh all night.
I mean, we could do an episode on that.
So we're good at.
It would just be me rolling my eyes at him constantly.
Mm-hmm. It's just with like, I mean, and you could tell Nani was kind of like, where is this coming from? Like she tries to like kind of play it off, but yeah, he does this like every season. I think we didn't see him do it last season, surprisingly, but every other one it's been kind of weird. I don't know if he was just drinking, he was just feeling in his feelings. I don't know.
I think it's a pattern. I think he was just waiting for the right opportunity, and he thought that she was ready to go. And
Because they're good friends.
yeah. But hey,
That's
listen,
wrong.
we talk about Nani coming into a season in a serious
Yeah,
relationship.
she's in a relationship. Mm-hmm.
So, you talk about that growth.
She's been definitely different this season, and I kind of like her. I'm sure Frankie misses messy ramen noodles, throwing Nani that we've all grown to know. But I like this side of her this season.
But in the previews coming up, it looks like she has a meltdown. So
yeah, over something. But so far, she's been good. And I was really worried for her during that reunion for Total Madness. I was like, she looks a mess. Like, what's happening? Yeah. I'm glad she got it together, though. I'm happy for her. So after the Josh and Nani weirdness, we see CT like strap in this weird workout strap things. I don't know. It's something like helps with muscle building and balance.
Is it the thing that like just jerks your muscles so it strengthens them or something? I don't know.
I guess. And it's like a balance thing. Because, she was done the thing with the thing on her hands. Was she supposed to catch the pillow on the, I don't know. It was funny. It was definitely cute. And CT just reiterates that he knows he needs to win a daily to get a skull. And he feels like Big T is still a little bit of a hindrance for him in that aspect. Mm-hmm. He eats his words later, as we know. And then Big T basically sits Gabby down to be like, Amber B is kind of pissed at you. She feels you blindsided her, that, you didn't tell her that you were in for elimination after you said that you wouldn't, blah, blah, blah. And Gabby understands. But yet she's like, oh, Amber B is just walking around and telling everyone that I blindsided her. And I'm like, she told one person, literally one person. And that same person is the one who's coming to talk to you.
Right.
But yeah, you understand, but then you're bitching. She's shady and two-faced and I don't trust her. Well, you just gave her a skull, so congratulations. The person you don't trust, you just gave them an easy skull. Great work.
Good job.
Great moves. Good job.
Yeah.
As Amber would say. I think it's very high school, and it made me laugh. People keep calling her like Melissa 2.0. I'm like, no, Melissa gave me way more than this. She was better than this.
Yeah,
she would
absolutely.
never have done that. She would have
Don't
been like,
insult Melissa like
I'll
that.
go down and get it myself. Like, don't.
Yeah, Melissa
don't
came
insult
in
her like
messy
that.
and hardcore, and you know,
And she
And
stuck to her guns.
pregnant.
yeah.
And
But
she
her first,
performed.
her first
Right.
season when she came in, I mean, it
Oh my
was
God, she came
it
in
was a
hot.
mess fest.
Where she hooked up with Nicole.
Yeah, just part of it. Yeah,
That was her first politicking.
and for Gabby, I mean, I'll have more to say about her next, maybe not next week, but a couple weeks. But yeah, anyone who goes into an elimination against Nani and is
Spoiler alert.
no longer able to talk about it. I mean, we'll have fun with that in 2 weeks.
Yeah, we will. So then after Big T and Gabby talk, we get another scene of Lolo whining again about not winning again, about being an Olympic trained athlete again. This time she's crying to Darrell, and he's trying to kind of placate her a little bit. And, she starts talking about the Olympic training crap. And, he comments in his confessionals, you can't compare this to the Olympics. Like, that's not even apples and oranges. Like, it's way different than the two. And I'm like, doesn't she know this? She did the champs versus, and I know that wasn't as
Right?
intense of a season, but it was still a taste. You knew then, and you can't use the excuse of, I'm used to the Olympics, because Louise Hazel dominated the challenge, and she did the same thing you do.
Well, I mean, she was the same way in the Champs versus Pros.
Yeah,
Her
she
attitude
was.
sucked.
Exactly.
She complained all the time.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So people are, talking amongst themselves, like, do we think Lolo's going to leave? The women obviously are not going to fight for her to stay. I wouldn't fight for her to stay. I don't want to see her in a final. So I don't know. I'm like, please, I don't want 90 more minutes of Lolo crying. Like, I get it, girl. You're stressed. Welcome to the world.
Right. I mean, I don't know if we want to get into the whole Lolo situation right now, if we want to touch on that later, but
we were going to go into it.
Oh, we're coming back to it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'll save what I have to say about the situation until then.
Oh, yeah.
It's just one of those things.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's theories that we will discuss, I'm sure. So they jump to going into the daily challenge. I don't remember the name of it, but basically they hop on a boat and they have to jump on some hanging ropes from a helicopter, hang on, drop in to an area of water and swim as fast as they can to a platform and hit a button in the least amount of time. I really feel like there could have been more to this challenge, but I also have to remember that the water is probably 45 degrees Fahrenheit and it's probably freezing cold. So they have to be limited to how long they're exposed to that. Just sucks. But Corey has to sit out once again. Yeah, they could have at the end or in the beginning, do a puzzle and then get to the boat, to the rope and do the swim. That would have been good.
That would have been very Survivor-esque.
Frankie, you should be on the challenge making creative team coming up with these ideas.
Where do I apply?
I don't know.
It gives me a Survivor vibe too as well, though, when you throw a puzzle at the end of it and kind of throw it through. So I could see the complication there.
I agree.
Kind of just making swimming not be just the one thing and then still be able to complete a puzzle. But at the end of the day, they are kind of throwing in. I'm not saying they're stealing comps from Survivor, but you're seeing more and more, especially the one last week where they dig up the puzzle pieces for the statue, kind of reminded me very much of a Survivor type of deal, which makes sense. I mean, they're crossbreeding talent, so but yeah, to me it seems like there's a lot of.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say there's a lot of water challenges this season for real.
Well, yeah, and for being as cold as it is where they are, why so many? But what I was going to say, I'm very proud of Leroy. He looked like he could actually swim.
Right.
Yes, I actually wrote that down as a comment. Casey and Leroy are the first to go, and I'm so proud of Leroy working on his swimming skills.
I know. I was so
he
happy.
He has come a long way. I mean, he was not that far behind Casey, so I was super proud of him. That's what you call working on your weaknesses to get better in this game. It just makes me even more sad that this is his last season, at least for a while. Oh, damn it. I feel like this is like his second coming, you know, of like a challenge career. But I get it. I get, you know, he wants to start a career and lifestyle that he can do far beyond the challenge. But still, it sucks.
I think he realizes the fact that because there's other factors involved in the show that, you know, realistically, he can go chase his dream and be more successful at that and you know, still be able to balance that life with Cam.
And he can bank on who he is, you know, using that to his advantage for at least a few more years of people coming specifically to because of who he is to get their haircut.
Right.
I mean, pictures with everybody who asks. Why? If I was in Houston, I would make Matt go get his haircut by Leroy. Absolutely.
Sure.
I'd like, throw it out.
Caitlin, what did you think about the swim competition? You see Lolo doing the backstroke?
That was the Cara backstroke. Whoever said that.
Man.
Oh my God, so mean.
She done made that thing look worse.
I know. She, honestly, I'm surprised.
And then
I lost
break
my shoe. Why would you act weird like that over a shoe? Like, it's a competition. She complains and she like, oh my God, I lost my shoe. Keep going. You're supposed to be an athlete.
Nom did it with a
really
hurt
pissed me
back.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about Nam lifting her out of the water? She ain't never been dragged like that.
And he was in pain and he still did all that.
I mean, he said he hurt his back. I mean, we'll see a couple episodes if that has any reasoning, and he can go back and blame Lolo.
Okay, yeah, but Joe, she lost her boot. Come on.
I know, right?
I know. Darrell and Amber B go after Casey and Leroy. Kyle and Cam are third. And I love how Kyle's like, I'm not a terrible swimmer, but I'm not the best. I think I'll be okay. And Cam's like, you're a shark. He's like,
You're
I'm
a shark.
I'm a shark. It just made me laugh. How like excited he was. And they do pretty well. You know, Leroy's like, damn, Cam, you're stealing my thunder. This is supposed to be my moment. She's like, sorry, babe. But she looks great in her wetsuit, if I must say so myself. And then we have Nani and Josh. Josh just completely misses his rope and then is trying to grab Nani's, which then ends up with Nani falling off the rope. Did
anyone catch the setup on that one? When Josh and Nani were on the boat and they were both talking about how this comp was going to be pretty much a wrap for them based on their swimming. The edit was honing in on Josh talking about hyping himself up. Yeah. And then next thing you know, Nani got the rope, and then Josh, it was a perfect setup, in my opinion.
It was
on the. It's an essential all-out drag fest of Josh this week. Social media as well as the title of the episode, and I'm all for it.
So two things. One, Nani did say he straight up came for her rope. So she didn't know what to do, and she said she essentially just kind of jumped in. And two, I think I've probably watched that now like 10 times because it's hysterical.
Damn goof.
Yeah, so it's funny because Devin, when he goes off on him, they get just pissed off and leave, but he does the same thing and comes back and he's like cheering at himself for being so bad. Like, that's how you have to like meet that. Does that make sense? Like,
yep, for sure.
It's hysterical.
I like how Devin just like absolutely razzes Josh just to turn around a few rounds later.
Oh yeah, that was hilarious.
He misses his rope too. Now his rope was a very significant like distance away from him as opposed to Gabby's, and it could have been windy, it could have been the helicopter. It's just hilarious how he was bashing Josh for being Josh, and then Devin
you think production set him up?
I don't know. It really could have been, maybe. I think the elements of a helicopter and wind in Iceland in October probably could have had something to do with the two. I thought it was hilarious. He should have. That's what I would have done. I don't know why they didn't, but
yeah, super Devin.
And then Anissa.
I'm trying to get Tia going, but it ain't working.
What?
I'm trying to get Tia going talking about her man.
Oh, I don't care. I think it's funny. Like I said, he handled it with grace. He came back and took the ribbing, whereas Josh went and cried in the corner. Yeah.
I'll say that about Devin, man. He can dish it out for sure. We've all seen that this year.
Mm-hmm.
But man, I'll tell you, he can take it pretty good too, though.
Sure.
I mean,
yeah, he's good at making fun of himself.
Yeah, I mean,
he doesn't take himself seriously. He knows he's an asshole. Yeah, that's why I like him.
Absolutely. Same. I'm right there with you. Anissa just slides right off the rope when her and Fessy go, as she says, like a little turd, just
right to the bottom.
Fessy was so pissed off.
He
was probably like hilarious. In his head, this is why I don't want her as a partner. He was probably
but you know what? If I was Fessy, I wouldn't give a F because I'd be like, no one's probably going to come after me for my skull anyway. Like, whatever. I'm going to the final. If we don't win, we don't win. I mean, it would be nice, but I'm not going to get butthurt. And I kind of think he's there a little bit where he's like, he's over it at this point.
I mean, did any of us think that Anissa was actually going to do good in this?
No. I had zero faith. I didn't even think she was going to get off the boat. She's one that again does strategy like she did in a couple of the dailies. If she knows that she doesn't have to go hard, she's not going to. I mean, she said it plenty of times, even this season. Listen, there's calculated risks. So if she didn't think she was going in, I wouldn't see her just standing on the boat.
Yeah, that's why this format sucks too, the school format. Because why would you even yeah, you guys know what I'm saying.
Right, if you can read the politics and kind of read where your sense is, now you could guess wrong. We all do from time to time. But if you have a good judge of that with the skull thing and you already have your skull, shit, I'd be chilling. I would not be jumping into 45-degree weather or water, Fahrenheit, Celsius, whatever the temperature is. It's cold. And, if you could calculate that risk because of the skull, then yeah, I see what you're saying, Frank. Yeah, I like it.
So, yeah, I agree with everything you guys said. Sorry, my dog
keeps taking bong hits in the middle of this episode.
I wish. So normally when we do this, my roommate Rachel is down here, and she can keep an eye on the dog because he gets very needy. I have a dachshund, but she's upstairs, so I'm like, he's of course wanting to mate. I'm like, stop, leave me alone. I wish it was bong hits. That would be better.
Yeah, I don't care, man. We are unbothered.
That would be preferable. That one gets on your nerves. And then the cat tries to mess with him. Ugh, it's annoying. Anywho, so after Anissa pops like a turd, then we see, Lolo. Wow. Lolo died at swimming. We kind of already talked about it, but girl, what?
It was weird.
It was weird. And then she blamed it on her boot. And I'm like, it would have been more believable if you would have said, I was not expecting the water to be that cold and I felt a little funny. And it was just
a shock.
My body was freaking out. That would be more believable than my boot was loose and that really threw me off. I'd be like, fuck this boot. I'd kick that shit into the water and I would freaking, whatever, swim forward, backwards, doggy, whatever is easiest.
So my idea of swimming and your idea of swimming may be different, but when I get in the pool, I'm just sitting. I'm not doing much swimming. So does it matter if you don't have both your shoes?
It shouldn't matter.
I don't think it should matter.
Exactly. Even from sitting in the pool, it don't matter from treading water.
Yeah.
If you got one boot on, it might actually make you kick faster. So she's just making a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah, if she was okay, well, it may have slowed me down a little bit, fine. But she was crying as if she was dying as she was attempting to backstroke towards the platform. That's why I'm like, your boot? No.
But
did production tell you to say that too?
A chastity belt.
Do you think any of
Right.
the girls were like, oh, maybe I could be here in the final now if like the final has anything to do with water or swimming?
Honestly, if I was there, as long as the elimination doesn't involve jumping over hurdles or being the brake woman for a bobsled, I would just take my chances against her. Because she hasn't come close to being dominant in anything that doesn't involve sprinting
Right.
and sprinting. And none of the eliminations involve sprinting other than sprinting at each other in a hall brawl. And we've already had it. So I would just take my chances with her at this point.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. I'm just like, you know what? You want your gold skull opportunity? Let's go. Because one, either I'm going to win and I don't have to hear you whining, or I'll lose, but I won't have to hear you whining. And you can have a skull and you can just stop crying. That would be me. Anywho, moving on. Then it's Devin and Gabby. And as we saw, Devin pulled a Josh. And what did Darrell call them accidentally? Gavin and Dabby?
Yeah.
Yes. I love it. Gavin and Dabby forever.
Darrell
That's like
just
they're all
give a shit.
shows. Darrell
That's
just clearly he's just not paying attention. But I love that slip up, Gavin and Dabby. So what we were kind of already said, like, do we think it might have been production kind of screwing him? I guess it's kind of like, because I had a comment of, was he just bad at it like Josh kind of was, or was it just like bad luck and timing on the rope? Or was it production? I still think it was kind of bad luck. But it was still funny that Karma was like, okay, you're going to laugh at Josh some more, even though it is funny. Let's just remind you, a little humbling moment. And
It was hilarious.
It worked. It was hilarious. And then we get to the final people, Big T and CT. And they do fantastic. Big T outswam him. I think she probably outswam all the females. She might have outswam everybody.
Right.
And shocked. Like CT was like, oh my God, I can't believe you did that. Did you see that? Don't look at me because I have no idea how did you do that? She said, always
Nailed that.
in school, and I just didn't want to say anything because I'm a bit rusty. And I did pole dancing classes for the grip. And he's just like, I'm doing everything wrong.
Well, also he said that she was swinging past, going wee, and that she bumped into him at one part. And he said that her smile was just huge.
You
Like, that
can
was
see
so
it
cute.
when I watched it. Yes,
Yeah.
when I watched it again, you just see her big grin. Just, she's like swinging
So
around,
cute.
and CT's like, I love that. And apparently Big T said that Lolo came up to her and was jokingly like, maybe I need to switch up my training. Can you sign me up for some of these pole dancing classes you're talking about? They obviously work. And they win by a mile. TJ praises her. She's on cloud 9 because, you know, when you get a compliment from TJ for a lot of these, you know, challengers being on the show, like that's a huge deal because he doesn't throw them out lightly. CT's ecstatic. Well, I like his confessional where he just crossed his arms. He's like, don't ask me because I have no idea either. If you had asked me if we were going to win, I'd have said no. But here he is, finally, the opportunity that he wanted. And he can put himself down.
I'll probably get dragged for this, but I mean, I'm glad Big T did a great job swimming. I mean, I really am. That was amazing. Like, I couldn't do that. I just honestly have never been part of the Big T experiment. I guess because she can swim now. Some people have kind of crowned her in her place in the challenge world and all. But to me, I just never really understood the whole big T. Look, I'm drunk. I can't even speak right. The Big T, like everyone obsession with her, right? I mean, she's walking into the club with the pink wig and the sunglasses on, and she dresses CT, and it's a good look. But you see anybody else do that?
I think that's why people like her. She's really sweet. She's very positive. And when she does it, I don't think she's even taking herself seriously. She's just, you know, enjoying it. I think it's cute. I like her.
I think so too.
No, I get it. There's a big population that eat that up. Huge.
I think because when she does it, it doesn't come across as conceited or you know what I'm saying?
No, I
think
get
Yeah,
what
she's
you're
like,
saying.
kind of
having
like
fun.
joking about it.
She does
Yeah.
have some humility in her, and I can understand that. But for me, it's just like, girl, get in the club instead of the VIP table. We do not need an ISO of you walking through the kitchen with that fly ass wig on. Like, I mean, you know, just get to the club. But
I love
who knows?
it.
I mean, she swims better than the person I love and adore on the show, so I can't really, you know, get too much into it because she can swim, and you know, a lot of the challengers struggle with swimming. So I mean, she freaking nailed that. You know, we have the luxury of doing this the day after, and I think we should talk about it because it's way out there. I mean, Twitter's blowing up right now regarding this. How if you go back and watch it, the way they were dropped into the zone, Big T may have been dropped outside of the zone, so she could have possibly been disqualified. You know, and it kind of speaks to the production aspect of the show. So I'm wondering, have you guys been keeping up with it today and kind of seeing?
I went back and rewatched that scene, and you only really get one camera angle, and that camera angle, it's not. I've watched enough NFL football to know that one angle when you're trying to get in a designated area is not good enough. Like you need to look at it from all angles, and they didn't show us all the angles. So I can't say, oh yeah, I definitely think because there were a few of them that dropped and I thought they dropped outside the parameter.
Same.
Like I thought Terrell dropped too soon or something, but they only showed us like one angle for everybody and it wasn't even the same angles.
So from where you stand, basically the argument's BS, right?
There's not enough physical evidence, like video evidence for us to see.
I'm not taking the side out of the way.
Yeah.
I like
that's
CT.
Just what I'm saying. Like it could be, it wouldn't be abnormal for them to let something slide, but I can't say one way or the other. There's not enough evidence.
Yeah. I mean, they set it up perfectly with the edit. Yeah. Editing it with one view. I mean, they did it perfectly, so you couldn't really talk about it.
Right.
Yeah. Cool. Sorry, guys.
No. That's absolutely, that's what we want to talk about, the theories and the rumors going around on the Twitter. And we're going to talk about more stuff on Twitter when we get to, you know, another Lolo moment. So they get home from the crater, you know, it's after the daily. Lolo is once again crying because they didn't win. I rolled my eyes, and she's getting herself so upset that she can't even like say a full sentence. Like
she turns into a robot, and she's like
I can't talk to you right now. And I'm like, poor Nam is like trying to be the supportive partner he has been trying to be this whole time, but I think at this point he's like, I don't know what you want me to do. Like this is you at this point. Like it's not even me anymore at all. Like it bless that man. From what we have seen, bless him.
So much patience.
Being as patient as he has been. And then CT, you know, pops into Leroy's conversation with like Cam and Kyle, his friends, and he's like, "No, guys, just help me get my skull." And Leroy's like, "This is what CT always does. He pops into conversations. You can't have anything because he's trying to insert himself. Like, we don't know what he wants." And even though Leroy and CT are cool, they're not exactly working on the same side because Leroy's kind of on BB side and CT's with like Dial and the non-BB people. So, you know, he specifically says, "Give me the goofy one. I want the goof. I want to take out the goof."
Give me the goof.
And they're like, "Who? Josh? Yeah. Give me the goofy one. Get rid of him. Just get him out of here. Just give him to me." And I had to think about this for a minute because I thought about if it was anybody else that was like saying, "Give me the easiest one," like people would be like, "Oh, what, you're afraid, blah, blah, blah." And I mean, I guess his excuse could kind of be, well, Devin's my friend. I don't want to go against him. I have respect for Leroy. I don't want to go against him. And Kyle's in my alliance. So that leaves Josh and Fessy.
Right.
But I don't see CT wanting to call Fessy out.
Not true. I mean, fair point. Yeah, he
I
didn't.
can't say that I blame
No.
him. I mean, he's not doing anything different than anybody else.
Oh, I
has
don't.
done on there.
I don't blame him at all. You
Yeah.
know, I just think it's ironic that somebody, when CT does it, nobody says anything.
Nobody says anything, right?
But when other people do it, it's like, you just want the weak ones and this, that, and the other. Just, you know, it's just funny how the narrative
Maybe that
sometimes-
speaks to how much people hate Josh. They just want him out.
I don't know. CT sounds like a male version of Tori, if you ask me. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that's funny.
Oh, hell no.
You're about to piss Joe off.
No, we can talk about it, but no,
Go ahead, Joe. You could drag me.
I think that maybe he looked at Fessy and was like, at my age, why am I going to bark up that tree?
Sure.
I don't know. But yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I think it's just fun to see how similar narratives or, you know, situations are different.
But I
depending on
agree with-
who's involved.
I agree with both y'all saying, though, how, you know, a little
I
different.
do love how he called him the goof, and everybody knew who he was referring to.
Yeah.
Even though Nisa was
Except
trying to be like, who are you
Nisa,
referring
didn't
to?
she go, who's he talking about?
And
Or
then
was
she
she
goes, who,
joking?
Josh? In
Yeah.
her confessional. Yeah, but
I was like, was
she
he
knew
joking?
it was Josh.
Yeah.
And then MTV added the logo, too, Goof.
Yeah.
Okay, look, I just have to say that
It's the name of the episode.
I get that Josh is making probably more money than I'm making by being the goof on this show, but I don't know, maybe I just have kind of an ego, but I would not want anyone making money off of me by labeling me as the show doofus.
Right.
Yeah, that you're the butt of the show.
Like, you're always the butt of the joke, and it's obvious at this point. It's no longer implied. It's just blatant.
Yeah.
And I mean, if he wants to keep making money off of that, then, you know, more power to you. But I would be, after a while, be like, you know what? I have too much self-respect. I can't always be the joke. Can I be the one telling the joke for once?
He doesn't have any self-respect.
We
Yeah,
know.
it speaks to desperation. It's all
does.
it is.
He
I mean, he talks about
reeks
not
of
having any-
desperation.
He
Mhm.
talks about not having any money, but he lives in like the 30th floor penthouse in Miami.
Does he live with his parents? Because he keeps trying to buy them a house.
No, I think he lives by himself. I mean, I think he's living pretty good. So when you get people like that who have the track record of being like crazy with women, swinging and missing every year with women who you would think he might have a chance with, always going to his mental health. You notice he's been on a social media kick the last few days because he knew this episode was coming, so he knew he was about to get dragged to hell. And then what MTV do? They titled the episode of him. They stretched it out so that way we can have him again next week so they can torture him even more. I love it.
I mean, if
More
he wants to make
torture.
money, if he wants to make money outside of MTV, he could just release like a cologne or a clothing line titled Desperation. I'm sure people will buy it.
I love it, Frankie.
That's hilarious.
Oh, shit.
Desperation.
That's a good one, Frankie. And if he takes it, you better sue him for copyright infringement.
I want 20% copyrighted right now.
I want 20% right now. 20% finder's fee.
You're right. I should have asked for 40.
Oh my God. What did he say? Oh, okay. So back to what CT calling him the goofy one. He basically promises Kyle, like, I won't come after you. I promise I won't steal Cam. Just help me get Josh in there. And Kyle says, I'm going to do what he wants. He's not going to come after me. And he's not stealing Cam. And I'm like, you really believe him?
So stupid.
I love your impressions.
Thank you.
And I
I
hate
do it.
Kyle.
I typically do pretty good Geordie accents from watching Geordie Shore for entirely too many seasons.
I like it.
Which is how I knew who Kyle was when he came on the challenge. Then we have the Igloo Party, the standard weekly Igloo Party. It's my favorite part because I want the igloo. Big T and CT make their grand entrance. I love Big T's hair. I want it. I want her sunglasses.
Or the pink wig.
I want them.
Yeah.
And, Leroy and Nani chat.
Oh.
We see them chatting that he tells her CT wants Josh to be voted in. And Nani's annoyed, but she knew it was coming. I mean, hello. You can't be paired with Josh and not know that this day is coming. Devin knows the day is coming for him, too.
Right.
And then we see Amber B and Devin drunkenly maybe make amends, which just pisses off Gabby for some reason. She's like pissed. How dare he suck up? He's just doing it because he doesn't want to get voted in. No shit.
Of course.
That's what you're supposed to do.
Does she not understand the game?
No, because she didn't throw herself in last week against the easiest elimination she could have had.
I've said this before. Like, if I'm going to go on something like that, I'm going to watch every single episode. I'm going to learn it. I'm going to research it. I'm going to know all the ins and the outs. And I'm going to know that people are going to do what Devin did to save themselves. Like, seems pretty much common sense to me. Whatever.
I don't know what post it was today, but Caitlin said something about doing your homework when you're preparing for these seasons. I mean, I know some people are like, oh, they're influencers and they don't have to do any of this stuff. They just come in and get the check or whatever. But if they're really serious about the money, then they're going to check it out and do the history. And at least one would think they're smart enough to see how TJ is, to kind of see what the format is, to kind of see who, regardless of what you think of them, runs the game or whatever, or the house, just to kind of understand that stuff. But it's just like preparing for any photo shoot or any trip to Mexico you take where you film your food all day long and get paid a bunch of money, whatever it is, you're going to prep to do that. So I agree with Tia and Caitlin on that. You gotta prepare. And I think we actually, we dragged Kayla one time. She posted on Twitter. She didn't watch any of the shows or anything like that. And it carries over to her performance, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I definitely agree. And then Gabby goes and complains to Big T about Devin making up with Amber B. Again, it's very high school. It's very annoying. I don't understand it. Like Devin says later when Gabby confronts him about it, he's like, she's all buddy-buddy with Fessy and Josh, and I don't say anything, but because I try to make amends with someone so I can try to get a vote on my side because I know I'm a target, it's a problem. Like, I'm sorry you didn't take your opportunity for Gold Skull. Like, I have one. I'm not trying to lose it, and you are not helping me keep it. And after she's complaining again to Big T, CT is kind of discussing where Darrell stands in the game. Darrell is very notorious for playing middle of the road, playing a floater. He tries to play it low key, and it gets to a point where you have to choose a side. The numbers get low enough that you have to choose a side because you end up becoming the swing vote. And CT's confused. He's like, I don't know where Darrell stands. Like, we've been doing this together for over 10 years. But he's like acting like as if they had an agreement coming into this that they would stick together. Does anybody think that they may have had an agreement that we just don't know about? Or is CT just assuming wrongly, oh, we're OG vets, like we should just naturally stick together?
So, did you guys watch Aftermath? No.
No, I didn't watch it.
CT basically, I think for him, he just thought it's going to be an OG thing, mutual respect, not to vote each other or whatever. So Darrell said that, he denied that he was the swing vote, and then Devin called him out and was like, no, you were. And then he said he made some comment that he gets along much better with Devin. He's closer to Devin than he is with Josh. And they were like, so the host, Devin, the girl, she goes, so why did you vote him then? And he said that he was basically doing what Cam and Leroy wanted him to do. So Devin called him out again and said that he thought that was a cop-out, but he still loves him. So
Darrell had just tweeted about an hour ago. He said, CT ain't never done shit for me ever. Y'all must have forgot him and Teresa's conversation. So, I think he's nipping in the bud to say, yeah, CT might have thought there was an unspoken OG thing there, but Darrell was kind of focused on number one. Didn't necessarily think CT would have his back. I'm gathering out of that.
Oh, well.
Very true. Very true. Good points. And judging from what CT says later after, because they didn't show us everybody that voted when it gets to House vote, and we'll kind of get into it, but CT does make it sound like Darrell was the swing vote for what does go down in the House deliberation of the voting. And then we see Gabby complaining at Devin for being nice to Amber B, and that's when Devin's like, I am so confused. Like, you're making out with Fessy and you're butt buddies with Josh, but I can't chat to Amber B for 20 minutes after we just threw her in elimination last week. I'm trying not to go in. Again, I'm over this girl. I'm over the reject Melissa. I'm over her.
She's being hypocritical. Like,
She
I
is.
don't think she realizes it.
I agree. 100%.
I mean, to me, she doesn't really add anything to the show. So if she didn't come back, I wouldn't care.
We'll have fun with her in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
We will. Frankie's going to love it. And then we cut to the BB Alliance discussing that CT, what he wants and how they're going to make the House vote go. And they know that for the moment, they still have the numbers on their side to hopefully get the House vote to swing the way that they want, which is not to vote in Josh and instead vote in Devin and Gabby. And Devin, Kyle, and CT know that this is a turning point for their numbers because I don't care what anybody says, damn near every single season, it turns into a numbers game. 9 times out of 10, the people that get to the second half of the season and closer to the final and the final itself, a lot of it has to do with numbers, unless they just happen to be really good or really lucky. Just throwing that out there because people like to complain about who wins what season, and they fail to realize it's always a numbers game. When it gets to it, this show is about numbers. And unfortunately for some of us, and maybe fortunately for other viewers, BB right now has the numbers on their side. And they know this. And Corey tells Darrell, dude, you're the swing vote. You're the man in the middle. And whichever way you vote is going to determine essentially if it's going to be Josh or Devin that goes into elimination, has to face CT. So Good luck with that. Have fun with that on your shoulders. Which then takes us into the House deliberation. And Devin reveals right off the bat that CT said he wants Josh. Josh says, oh, good luck. Because these are my friends. And then Devin gives a really good I am a layup speech. Wouldn't you rather see me in the final? Me. I'm not the field agent. I'm the IT guy. I'm working back in the crew van with Anissa.
It was a good speech.
It was. Even Nani was like, damn, even I'm convinced to vote for myself. But he makes a good point.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, do you really want to give people a chance to beat you in the final? Like, you really want to give somebody like CT a good chance to getting his skull when you know there's a good chance that he could beat you in the final? Don't you want to keep me around? It's a good speech. It's a very good speech. If you were, what would you do? Like, if you were one of the people that had to vote, would Devin have changed your mind? Caitlin, would Devin have changed your mind if you were listening?
Yeah. I think, yeah. Because he's trying really hard. So, I mean, yeah, I would probably just do it.
Okay. Straight, sweet, to the point. Frankie, what would you do?
I'm obviously Team Devin, and I hate Josh, so I'm obviously voting Josh regardless of any speeches.
Thank you. Yes. Same answer.
Same.
I feel like the only way that I would change my vote is if Josh was like, oh, if I win any type of money, I'll give you like half. And that's maybe. That's because you're probably not going to win anyways. But
Okay, Mark Long.
that's only like the way I would consider voting your way.
Like you would trust him to do that anyway?
No.
I'm sorry, but I would get it in writing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can get it on video and it still wouldn't work. But anyway. Josh tries to counter argue and Devin just shuts it down. He's like, you're just going to say the same thing as me. I think everybody's made up their minds now. Okay, bye. And that's really smart because usually people have a tendency to remember the last things that were said. So if you don't give him a chance to give his own speech, they're more apt to think about yours. He's smarter than the average challenger, Devin. He's very smart. And Anissa tries to get Darrell to vocally state what he thinks and to pick a side, and he dodges it. He just avoids it. This is just a tough position, man. It's a tough position to be in. I think everybody could, this is a tough position. Who knows what we're all going to do? It's a tough position. Let's go vote. Just doesn't answer. And
these deliberations are so unnecessary. I swear.
So unnecessary.
It's such a time waster.
Game. It is. It's a total opposite from last season where people used the House deliberation to beg to get voted in.
Right.
And this season,
Good
it's
blow-ups
just
in that too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know?
None of that is this season.
Mm-mm.
At least not from anything we've seen. So they all ultimately vote. Devin and Gabby are ultimately chosen. They don't really show us everybody, but they do show us that Darrell, in fact, voted for Gavin and Dabby, as he called them. And CT's bummed. He's like, man, this sucks. I wanted Josh, but I'm going in. Kind of upset that Darrell voted with Big Brother and not with, the OG challenge side, but it is what it is. He teases Big T that, he'll stick around and help her get her skull. We'll see.
We'll see.
Mm-hmm. And then he tells Devin and Kyle that Darrell was the deciding vote, which would mean that there was 15 votes and 8 came Devin's way and 7 went Josh's way. And Darrell was the swing vote. But we don't really know because they didn't show us everyone who voted for Devin and Gabby. So we're just going to have to assume. And that's I think the first time anybody's ever came out straight out and said, this is who got voted in and this is who did it.
Yeah.
But, he gave Devin a heads up sorry, man, I know we're cool, but I'm taking your skull. So just be prepared. And Devin's probably like, thank God the hall brawl has already been done. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And then Josh is crying because he has friends.
Do you think there'd be more drama if both partners had to agree on voting someone in instead of individual votes?
Yeah, because I think they'd be conflicted.
100. Mm-hmm.
Especially
100%.
the further along you get.
I think they should have done that. I think that would have made for more of an interesting vote and deliberations, even.
There's a lot they should change, though, period.
Or just not do ever again.
Do what?
Or just not do at all ever again.
Yeah. Yeah. Go back to putting the worst ones in automatically. I don't know. There's just a lot they could change. I'm not complaining. I'm glad we have the challenge on, but there's improvements that could be made.
Oh, of course.
Oh,
I mean, no season's perfect. Frankie's like, I don't care. Give me the complaint hat. I want to speak to the manager.
Where's the suggestion box?
We had to throw it away because people were giving us suggestions, and that's not what we want. So yeah, Josh cries because he has friends. Like, oh my God, it's just so nice that the people who said they were going to do something did it. You guys like me.
I've never had friends in this house or in real life.
Even though this whole fucking season, all he's been saying is, you're not going to get anyone to vote me in because I have friends.
If you don't watch RuPaul's Drag Race, you might not understand this, but somebody pointed out that he and Candy Muse are the same person. And I swear to God, they are the same person. It's hilarious. What's that?
Wouldn't surprise me.
Oh my God, it's so funny.
Yeah, you're gonna have to send us like a video clip or something of that.
I will do it. Everybody look it up. Candy Muse.
We'll get Corrington to do a side-by-side. Candy Muse and...
he's great at side-by-sides.
They even talk alike.
Man.
Kind of. So, Lolo quits.
Yeah. Yeah.
Quits.
Good.
Everybody gathers around to listen. She goes, guys, just no one wants to help me here. No one wants to help me win. So I'm going to go somewhere that I can win. And I'm going to go train for the Olympics again. And in case you didn't know, that is kind of what she started to do. She got on the U.S. women's bobsled team, and they did win the world championships not that long ago in Germany, which is fantastic. Very happy for them in that aspect. But I got a lot of questions about this scene because I think we all know this Ish did not just get up and quit halfway through the season because now she suddenly wants to train for the Olympics again. Somebody who's been doing it her whole life.
She was in the Olympics?
World championship.
That's a joke.
Oh.
I was like, is he for real?
Like Frankie, she only reminds us every 2 minutes. Every season or every episode and on every Twitter post.
Yeah, I mean, this is basically the whole culmination of the episode, right? There's no elimination this week.
Yeah.
It's the whole drama is Lolo leaving. And I don't know, man. It's a real touchy subject now. A lot of people are drawing a line in the sand and say they believe her. Like, we're not jaded. We understand it's a reality TV show. We understand that edits happen. Behavior during filming is conducive to what the edit may show. The climate right now is what's conducive to the edit, what the edit might show. But Lolo saying she had all those weeks to win a daily, and she's a beast, and she has a Greek god as her partner. They couldn't get it together to win one daily challenge to where they can control their own destiny. She's not playing the game. And MTV, whoever casted her, should have known what they were getting into when they hired her because they've already been down that road.
Sure.
Is she spilling tea on the show? She's not really spilling anything most super fans that watch the show don't already know. Is there going to be 100% influence in the final? We don't know. I know there's some tweets out about the puzzle situation going on in the final and all. We don't 100% know the rules. We know the rules were set up to where, I don't want to get too far into that because I don't want to spoil it for anyone that's not watching it. But what it brings it back to is that Lolo had her time. I think it's different than the CT situation, in my opinion. The CT situation, I think they were truly going to do whatever they had to do until he won a daily to get himself an opportunity. And last I'll say is Lolo had that opportunity, just like everybody else, longer than most because she lasted longer than some. So her saying it kept her out of it. Yeah, I'm sure there was some of that when it came down to the crater time, but she did have some opportunity to win. That's all I'll say about it.
Every daily was an opportunity to win.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
She didn't do it.
Right, exactly. So her whole argument of saying, oh, they kept me from winning, it's just, that's why.
She was like, oh, BB Alliance. And I'm like, when were you a part of that?
Right?
She was the only person that wasn't, they even included Amber B in that. So she may have been included because she was on Celebrity Big Brother, but that's about it. And
herself.
Honestly, the best part of the show was when she gave her speech. If you look at everyone's faces as they were listening to her, no one cared.
Right.
They were all like, see ya.
Exactly.
Like Kyle said, the women were like, let us help pack your bags. We're not going to stop you, and of course they're not going to stop them. I just think it's ridiculous that she said on Twitter, oh, production made her quit or made her say that when she quit. Why did you really quit? Because those of us who know the spoilers, we were told and we had read and had been speculated that production pulled her due to her mental health. Now, all these episodes of this chick having breakdowns over nothing that we can see that would cause that kind of a reaction. And then, oh, guys, I'm going to go quit to go train for the Olympics. Bye. Right. Like, what? I want to know what really happened and not what she's trying to say, because she's not going to tell the truth.
What was the thing? There was one thing that came out today that said Josh and Casey heard her say something.
Right.
And they went and told production, and production pulled her because she was a liability.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and
but they're not going to be able to tell us because they signed NDAs and they're bound by those for like 3 or 4 years after the airing.
The only opportunity to really find out what was going to actually happen was today, and she chose to go the path that she thought by exploiting the fact that production controls aspects of the show that would bring doubt or cast it. Give her some break on her situation. And for a lot of people, because of the way the culmination of different tweets came out today, a lot of people are jumping on her side and saying, hey, you know what? But for me, I'm over the Lolo experiment. I was over it when they announced her. We knew.
You gotta be honest though. I feel like probably 90% of the people are glad she's gone and
oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Are just over it.
It's a very small but loud population, if that makes sense. But at the same time, fandom, super fans, we already know that production is going to influence aspects of the show. It's one of the things that you deal with. It's one of the things that it may go in your favor. It may not. How much do they? We don't know. No one will ever know. But to pretend like it doesn't happen and to be shocked of what she said today, I think it's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only way any of us would ever really truly know is if we ever had a chance to have a very candid face-to-face conversation with somebody who was on the challenge who would be honest, or if any of us ever actually got to experience it in person. But they're never going to come out and say it on a podcast or on a blog or on an IG post because they could get sued. And it's not worth it. And they ruin and sever any possible tie or chance to ever get to revisit again.
That brings up a good point though, is what she said today, something that goes against maybe a contract that she might have signed, like spilling that kind of information. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I don't know because I mean she's not really giving details. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I think because that's just the narrative she's spinning and it's not really accurate and it's not really damning either. Like she's kind of flirting with the line and I think she kind of knows at this point that I don't think she's going to get invited back. Yeah. So she's really risking anything because I'm pretty sure at this point she will literally be training for the Winter Olympics, which are next January.
I think like even though like if production pulled her or she left on her own, I think that at least she could have been like, oh, me and production had a mutual agreement. At least something like that. Just something so basic.
And
like
if
that.
It was for mental health concerns or reasonings, then they missed a really and I guess a really great opportunity to have that conversation. You know, it's an important topic and how many times
Lolo didn't want to have that conversation.
Right.
So
she signed a contract, so she doesn't get to have a say in what they show of her and what they don't show.
But like, apparently she does. I mean, she's an Olympian. If you look at our Olympians, most of them are head and shoulders professional. Whether it's Michael Phelps, even when he's, doing his thing and having his troubles, she's still professional about it. Lolo just blames everybody else but herself.
True.
Sorry. I mean, that's just how I feel.
I know.
Glad
they just
she's
missed
fine.
a great opportunity. I don't think they forced her to say that when she quit. I do think they probably just came together and were like, look, this is not a viable environment for you anymore. let's come up with something that you can say to give a reason as to why you're leaving. That may make some sort of sense. And we'll just kind of leave it at rest. So we got to deal with that. And because we got to deal with that, all we got to see of the crater was that it is going to be a men's elimination, because we see it's like that swinging ring elim that Cam and Ashley did, but just more distance from the center pole to the different ring hooks. TJ reveals who the compromised agents are, and it's Devin and Gabby. And then the next thing we hear is the sounds of the security breach, and leaves us on a cliffhanger. This is the first episode in a long time where they didn't have an elimination happen in the episode. We don't know exactly what the security breach is. Is it Lolo left? Now we have 2 rogue male agents, because now Nam doesn't have a partner. Now they're just bring somebody back. I don't know. It's kind of late in the game, but they've done it halfway through before with mercenaries. Anybody got any thoughts on that? What do they think that the security breach could mean? I mean, obviously we'll find out next week, but
I don't know, but it was funny, all their reactions. They all shit themselves. And then they were like, we don't know what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to say that it was super cute. Nam was like, I love you. Wait, no, I like you. Lolo left.
I know what he meant. Like, I love you. Like, oh, I love you, girl. Love you as a friend.
That was
but he
so
was like,
cute.
oh, God, I don't want her to take it out literally.
Yeah.
I think maybe for the security breach that they're going to recognize that they have too many men, and I think they're going to take a look at the vote and kind of see who is the next person in line for the vote, and whoever that may be, maybe their vote may not count in some respect, and that'll wash things out, which will either open up somebody else to go into elimination and kind of work it that way. I don't think anyone's going to be coming in. Could be wrong. It's been a little bit since we've seen something like that, so if they want to put that twist on it, but I think something's going to work out to where the voting, TJ is going to do something with whatever was the next place vote.
Well, wouldn't Lolo's vote not count since she left?
Yeah. So maybe taking out Lolo's vote, and whoever that might free up, maybe that'll bring another person down and open up maybe a potential double elimination.
I was going to say, if Lolo's vote got thrown out, we know she voted for Devin and Gabby. That would make Devin, Gabby, Josh, and Ani a dead tie. So how are they going to tie break it? And then how, if they decide to do a double elimination, how do they decide who the other, like, this is going to be interesting to see how it plays out. Like, do they take the second place winner?
If it went to a tie, they could maybe, because CT won, say, who do you want to go against?
Right.
Yeah.
And maybe give CT the opportunity to say, hey, OG Darrell, go down there and get your skull.
Possibly.
We'll see.
I guess we'll see next week.
Look forward to talking with y'all next week about it.
So they do show us a little bit of a preview. None of it of the eliminations, obviously. Just like a real quick snippets of the next, I guess, daily. Looks like they're in that dark warehouse with all the different cages and fences, and it's like got the weird lights, and I think they're like handcuffed to their partners on the other side of the fence. They showed a little bit of it in the mid-season trailer they did a couple weeks ago. We see Big T yelling at someone. We don't know who it is. All we really hear her say is, what you said to us down in the crater was unacceptable. So I can't wait to see what that is and what she's referring to. Then you cut to Kyle telling somebody you can't be trusted. And then we see Nani crying, saying something like, I don't know if I can do this or if I can take this. It'll be the first time she's cried all season. She's really made it far. I'm really proud of her growth. Me personally. So we're going to get to the section we do called the good, the bad, and the ugly of the episode. For me, the good is Big T's performance, 100%. You have to put that in there. And Cam's red shirt confessional look is so gorgeous. When I rewatched the episode to take the notes today, I was like, damn, she looks so good with that
Every
long.
confessional, she looks amazing.
I think this was a new one I don't remember seeing this one with the beautiful red long sleeves, like not a full turtleneck, but just a little bit, and it just fits her perfect, and her hair's like boom and voluptuous with volume and straight and just perfect part. And I'm just like, she's so pretty.
So pretty.
There better be a Challenge Mania award for best confessional look, and she better win.
Oh, for
Jesse
sure.
and Dial can take second place.
Definitely.
For me, the bad is Devin mocking Josh just because he then turns around and fails. And Darrell choosing to side with the BB Alliance in terms of the vote. I was kind of like, boo, Darrell. I get why you did it. He's partnered with BB, but still.
Yeah.
And the ugly is Lolo crying and then quitting, and that being the basis of the episode, so we don't get an elimination. Thanks. I didn't want to watch that for 90 minutes.
No, I like it. That was a good one. I like the good, bad, ugly.
The ugly could also be Josh in a wetsuit again.
Yes.
Or Anissa during that.
Like the turd.
Her turd drop.
Her turd slide.
That's funny.
That's so disgusting.
I can't believe she compared herself to a turd sliding down out of a butt. Just down
Just
the
as an aside note, there's a new horror movie coming out called Monster instead of Monster.
I can't wait for the review.
I was just going to say that. I can't wait for the review.
I'm not watching that. That's gross.
It might sink.
I'll watch some terrible
Monster
horror
Turd.
movies, but I'm not watching that one.
It'll be like a life-size version of Mr. Hanky, the Christmas poo.
Gross.
But it's on Halloween because he smoked some of Towley's Marion stash and got the wrong strain and he went crazy and turned him into a giant turd.
Oh my god.
Has anybody ever seen, I know it's off topic, has anybody ever seen the movie Grandma's Boy?
It's one of my favorites. I own it.
Oh my god. And you know Dante always has the different strains and he's like, man, it'll make you feel like a lion or like Frankenstein. And Mr. Hanky must have had some of that and became a monster turd.
That's funny. I gotta check that out. It's been a couple of years since I've seen that.
Oh my god, I love that movie.
Where do you get your weed, Mr. Cheadle? From you, Dante. Oh yeah, what's up?
I'm a burnout, man. I can't remember the fucking details for shit.
Oh, I've seen
You know, I know it happened, and I'm like, I know I saw it, but I'm just like, fuck this. I can't remember the details.
It's great.
We're
Anybody
so
else
off
have?
topic.
I know. It just
Nah, this
the
is
monster turds
fun.
took me down a rabbit hole.
I appreciate y'all having me on. I'll make sure I'm gonna hop on next week. Get back.
You
on
better
my
be
feet.
on next week. Yeah.
We're getting so
And-
close to the end.
Just
I like how
pointing
he's
out
like-
my other skull.
She's got skulls on again.
Nice, dude. Nice. I like it.
Every time.
There's skulls.
To the members, that was not suitable for work. That little shot right there, T in the skull. So we apologize.
What?
That's the big hoop earrings.
You went like this.
Yes, I knocked it out.
You can just blend into them.
I know.
You just turned into floating letters.
Yeah, my bad, yo. It's towards the end, but I real quick just want to thank all the members. We've had a good week for sure. A lot of you joining over to reality, which we appreciate. And, we do these conversations so that way we can, shoot the shit with each other, but give you guys something to kind of listen to when you need something. Any feedback, just put it in the comments. Let us know. But definitely just share it. The guys work very hard on putting this together, carving out time, doing everything. So engage in the comments and kind of just share it and do what we would do for you as well. So that's all I got to say about that.
Absolutely. And like I said in the beginning, we have 2 Facebook groups, The Challenge Unbothered and Reality TV Unbothered. We also have an official page for the podcast called The Unbothered Podcast. Give us a follow and a like. And you can also follow us on Twitter at MTV's The, and our YouTube channel is just The Unbothered Podcast, which is where we post all these episodes that we do. Trying to get a Spotify up and running, so we will have links of that in our groups as well. Any last minute comments, questions, thoughts on this episode? Anything from any of you all wonderful fellow Unbothered family members?
No.
I'm good. Great job. Have fun.
Fantastisch. All right. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us once again. We will see you next week. And don't forget to keep it unbothered.